drug and alcohol counselor. I worked in juvenile justice, maximum security. I'm a vet also. I'm a veteran, and I was in during the Cold War and the Desert Storm era. I work with homeless veterans, and today it's a problem in this country that's getting to enormous proportion. Homeless vets outnumber civilian homeless 7 to 1. Okay, so it's something that I guess everybody, the media or the government tries to squelch it. They don't want everybody to know this, and it's a terrible thing. How I got involved was back in '03. My sister used to own a restaurant over here in Wayne, and it was it ran behind the Ramapo River there. And what happened was I found out was there were vets, Vietnam vets, living by the river. Well, within the next 18 months, 3 of those vets died. They used to come into my city. She had a fish store and an Italian restaurant right next door. And they would come in, and they also served pizzas, so they'd get pizza and things like that. They lived out of a, what do they call that, a post office box. And I witnessed them actually pulling out a man dying of the elements out there, right in our own neighborhood here, and it was very sad for me to see that kind of thing. So being the person that I am, and having a wonderful wife who backs me all the way, I started Emmaus for Vets. And what I do is at first we would go around and I'm with the Knights of Columbus, and they get us everything brand new. They get us clothes, blankets, all kinds of things. They get us candy, all this stuff. It's all fresh, all brand new. And I'd go and I'd see these vets. I'd started to counsel some of them. I had vets that were, they had mental illness, and they'd live in their car, or they'd stay with family and friends, and they had like this rotation, and it's just so sad. I don't mean to bring everybody down today, last year I got a call, and it was really touched my heart. What had happened was there was a vet who was in a shelter, and the vet that he knew, I guess they were kind of partners out there for a while, would come in and like live out in his car. He had an old car, and he would live out in the car and come in and take showers, and they had no room for him. The VA right now is so overloaded with veterans. They have a list a mile long just to get in, and they can't accommodate all these vets. So what we did is we're trying to buy a convent, okay? And it's an old convent, and it's out in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, and it will hold about 30 homeless vets, and sometimes we can sneak some in too.
Put bunk beds in.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, and I don't think he'll mind, Anyway, we feel that this is the best step that we can take forward. We're partnered with Pillar College, also the Denville School. They teach trades, and what we want to do is get them into like psych classes where they can learn about psychology. So it's not. It takes down the fear of being counseled, and then you understand how to be counseled, and how to give up what you need to give up in order to, progress and get back up on your feet.
Tom, can I ask a question? Are most of these individuals suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder?
Yes, they are. PTSD, yes, yes. I can explain PTSD too. I'm not going to explain the mechanics of PTSD, but we all know it's from trauma, right? So what happens is you know, we all grow up sometimes, not all of us, but some families are dysfunctional. So what happens is the child will, most likely when he grows into that teenage years and he graduates high school, he'll escape into the service, where then he meets a drill sergeant, which causes him more trauma, okay? Then we send him off to war, right? And this is what's happening. Then we send him off to war where he's overwhelmed with trauma, okay? Then he comes back, he starts to self-medicate, right? And what happens is the families usually didn't know what to do when they had him before all of this. So they kind of throw up their hands, and then the individual gets into getting into trouble at that point, and he goes to jail. So our heroes are in prison. And now this comes from, we have what they call VA parole officers. Now this was explained to me by this VA parole officer. Now he's not allowed to come forward and say anything either, but he says it's an epidemic proportions. It's just, you know, it's just really sad, you know. So what happens is that after these guys get out of jail, they don't go home because they realize it's not going to work, and they become homeless because all we trained them to do was to kill, you know. So we need to reacclimate them, you know. One of the things is that's where I started when I was working in juvenile justice. We worked in a community program right here in, I worked right here in Ringwood, New Jersey. And that's what we did. We tried to teach them some skills. I used to teach cooking on top of drug and alcohol counseling and being a senior youth worker. I would do all of that. And they would also go out to the botanical gardens right across the way, and they'd learn gardening and things like that. And then we reacclimate them back into society. They go, you know, from the detention center to our program, and then back out into the into society again.
And how do they find you, or how do you find them, so that you actually close that loop?
As far as what?
How do you find these vets that are in need?
Oh,
because if they're living at a riverbank,
the VA is looking to give them to us. I went to school with people who actually run the VA. I need to explain the VA system real quick. What happens is when a vet is homeless, they'll come into a 3 to 6 month program where they're evaluated for their needs, okay? Then they move on to, if they're so elderly, like, you know, that Vietnam era, what they'll do is most likely they'll get a pension for PTSD, and they'll be given a stipend to go out and rent a home. And with that, they have a pretty good life, you know. They're making about $3,000 a month, and they get spousal money or anything like that. So that's a pretty good deal for them. And then they're given also counseling. Younger men are given the option to go to shelters that are right there at the VA. I'm talking about Lyons, New Jersey, okay? And they're able to, you know, go to school or get treatment, you know. And some of those guys are not going to make it back to the workforce either. But that's already pre-evaluated, and they move on from there, you know. And I work with a lot of these vets. Being a drug and alcohol counselor, I kind of mentor them, you know, as they're coming out and as they're trying to get their lives together. So, and that's what I do. And getting back to the PTSD, what we need to do here is get them housing. You know, I can't go through another winter like this. And, you know, I have this contract on this building. It needs work. It needs work. I have a video on my website at Emmaus for Vets where I'm actually going through the building, explaining the program, explaining what we're trying to do. And I think it's pretty, you know, it explains everything very well. And
Are you eligible for state or county funding?
yes. Well, see, as soon as I get the building, the county will pay us to take their vets, and they're pre-evaluated also through a psychiatrist, and then they give them to us, and they pay us per vet, per day, you know. So, and it's usually, we get about 2 years. A little bit more with county guys, but a little less when they come through this government, you know, the government and the federal end, you know. But we feel in 2 years we can make a big difference. You know, Pillar College is a Christian college. They come on and they want to actually set up in our facility, and they want to give these guys the classes that they need. Go ahead.
How many facilities have you had so far?
Well, I've ran facilities like this,
Oh.
okay, where they're 24/7 in juvenile justice.
I'm talking
Yeah.
for the vets.
For the vets,
You did.
I've been working 8 years with the vets, and I am a vet myself.
No,
So-
you were mentioning you guys were planning on buying a convent to turn it into a shelter. I was wondering, do you guys have something like that already somewhere?
Oh, no, this is our first one, yeah.
What will be your website?
Oh, Emmaus for Vets, it's right on there. It's right on the brochure. Yes.
As far as back to the convent,
It's on the back.
now from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like it's in move-in condition. How bad, how dilapidated is it?
It's not dilapidated, it's solid structure, there's nothing like that. But what it needs is this, some electrical work, right? And that's gonna cost me about $80,000. And then it needs a sprinkler system, so, you know, and that's another $80,000.
So $160,000 to get this thing,
Up and running, yes.
so the roof is in good shape.
Everything else is in, I had a guy go
That's the
through.
plumbing.
The plumbing, right, plumbing and electrician.
Oh, you did say plumbing?
Plumbing, I'm sorry, plumbing is just the plumbing's fine, it's what do you call it? Sprinkler system to bring it up to code.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And what about your heating and air conditioning?
Yeah, heating needs to be, I think that's all inclusive.
Is it oil or gas? I know I'm throwing a lot at you.
Yeah, it's gas, it's.
Natural gas.
Natural gas, because it's in the city limits, this.
How far away is this?
It's, Phillipsburg is the last town in New Jersey before you go, when you're going out Route 78, it's the last town before you get into, Pennsylvania.
So it's an hour drive?
Yeah, it's about an hour ride from here, yeah.
A little
Yeah,
more.
287.
On 22.
Yeah, anyway, he's a truck driver. Right, sure. But it's, for me, I'm gonna move out there.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as I get this going, I'm gonna move out there. So, yeah, but we really,
Your wife does support you.
oh, yeah, she's half Irish and half Italian, but she's Sicilian, you know, so if I get into an argument,
You have no prayer.
I keep one eye open all night long, you know? She's great, guy. I'm very fortunate. I never.
So besides yourself, who else is supporting your efforts?
Well, we have the Knights of Columbus trying to help us right now. I am a knight also, and you know, we work. I'm also a deacon. Okay.
I'm in the Knights also, so do you go around and speak to other Knights of Columbus?
We're trying to right now. We're trying to do that. Yeah, I have. I don't know if you know Paul Pinkman, and okay, he's with the Federation. You know, he's a state. You know, and he's a Vietnam vet, and he's been helping us. We have the papers that we have. We actually kind of say, you know, attention Knights kind of thing.
Have you reached out to the Maine Knights office up in New Haven, Connecticut?
Yes, I just sent them a big box of literature to actually mail out and ask for help. We're asking for help, you know. We're just trying to get going, so.
Right. A friend of mine is actually the chief investment officer and runs the entire insurance business for the Knights. So I can introduce you to him. And I don't know.
Oh, I
He's in
appreciate
the senior leadership, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be fantastic. Okay, yeah,
And I
really.
know there's a couple of programs that run through the state, it's like if you have problems with your house. There's two programs. One, that if you apply for it and can't afford to pay it back, they don't, take the money back, but then there's the other program that once you sell the property, then you pay the state back. And I think there's like two $16,000 programs. So they're looking into it for residential stuff.
Yeah, this is more, actually, this building is considered commercial, so, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're a nonprofit, but we're also, we're registered with the state as a nonprofit, but they do give you corporation status
Right.
without paying taxes, thank God.
Now, what kind of staff do you need to have to occupy that?
I have a staff ready. I have actually Marines that will come in and do security for me. I have counselors. I have guys that have over 30 to 35 years in working with PTSD.
These all vets themselves?
Well, no, not, the vets are the security system. I have a vet he used to build homes. One of the things we do is we teach these guys, the younger guys, how to build homes. We send them off to school. We are getting a grant, but that's all, that every dime of that grant, because of, the government doesn't, they want to give you a grant, but they don't want to really give it to you, you know what I'm saying? So, you know how they are. It's yeah. Anyway, we have a grant coming from the county to give us about $60,000, where about 12 to 13 veterans will go through a program where they get beginning, carpentry, plumbing, electrician, cabinet making, and code, all in about a 6 to 7 week time over the summer. This summer, that program will go. And then we go out there. As soon as they get that training, we can actually go and do projects. We have a lot of guys that have homes, and they'll pay us just enough to pay the salaries of these, for my instructor, who is a Marine, and has grown up building homes upstate New York, and he's coming down to help us. So, yeah.
Now it's located in Phillipsburg, New Jersey.
New Jersey, right, yeah, so, yeah. And, I think that's about it, unless you have any other questions. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You said that the building is there, you have a contract on the building?
Yes, I do have a contract on the building.
So you're in the process of purchasing this building?
Yes, oh yes.
So you're looking to just,
You know what
this much money to keep this thing afloat, fix the electric, do the sprinkler system?
Yes.
So you already have the money to buy the property?
No.
You're a man of faith.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you need to buy it?
180,000. I've
How
got,
close you to that goal?
well, I got 10. That's it. I got 10. We're right there.
But I doubt people are lining up to buy this.
No, that's the good thing. Yeah, right. That's- what happened was the Catholic Church had sold it to this guy who was making it into a rooming house. So it was a rooming house. So that's the only way. It's always been that way, and that's why I'm allowed to do what I have to do. And you have to go to those kind of places. So I don't care if I had to travel down to Wildwood to do this, I would have. You know what I mean? And live there, because this means a lot to me, but it means more to them, I think. I think the problem today in our society is we don't care about each other. We don't love each other enough. And that's the deacon side of me talking there. But, and I think that we need to love each other a little bit more. And just because somebody's down on their, you know what I mean? Once these guys overcome this PTSD, you walking down the street, they look like a normal person. I mean, you know what I mean? Right now, you look into their eyes and you can see the distortion, But, it's just,
Tom, I really think helping, kind of teach them psychology a little bit about that, just so they have an understanding. It's not terrible to have to deal with these issues. I think that's a great way of introducing or getting things going.
Yes, and I've learned that myself. I suffer from PTSD myself, and as you can see, I'm totally clear from it, and, so, one thing about, it takes one to know one, and once you've come through that and been healed, and that's my Lord and Savior, you know what I mean? And that's where that comes from, that healing, somebody can diagnose you and tell you, talk to you, but who's gonna heal you, and that's it.
time.
Did you go down the drug road and alcohol road as well?
When I was a kid.
Not because of the,
I'm a
because of
family
being
of
a-
8, so there was a little dysfunction, you know, and I was one of those guys on the basketball courts. You know, I never went looking for trouble, but if you wanted to bring me trouble, I knew how to take care of myself, you know, put it that way.
Okay.
And when I met up with these, I gotta tell you this, I was on the basketball courts, and all of a sudden, and you know, I'd given my life to Christ years before, like maybe 2 or 3 years before, but I was going down the wrong road, and I got this kind of message: you're going to jail. You know, and I knew who was talking, you know. And I got into the service. I'll tell you the truth, I had a 3rd grade reading level coming out of high school. Okay, all right, and just to tell you how good God has been to me, right? Coming out of high school with 3rd grade reading level, where are you going to end up? On the streets, you know. And I didn't want to listen to my mother. I didn't want to listen to my father. I didn't want to listen to anyone. But when I heard that voice and it told me I was going to jail, I got myself into the service. And the funny thing was I couldn't pass the ACVAC test. One time I went down there and I was there late, and they just put in qualifying scores, okay? I had these Vietnam drill sergeants that really put their foot in my behind, okay? And I still got the marks.
So Ron's got them too.
Oh, that's a different one, sorry.
Anyway, when I left, they all lined up at the door. They all lined up at the door when I left basic training. And they all shook my hand because they knew what was going on. And they all shook my hand and told me they didn't think I was going to make it, but I just wouldn't give up, you know, because I promised the Lord that I wanted to change, and this was the first place that I changed, you know.
And where was that you grew up, Tom? I'm sorry.
Maywood, right? And then I moved to, when my family moved to Oakland, you know. We were in the restaurant business, you know, so, you know, that's just, you know. I went back to school. I did. When they lined us up at the end, they told us how we trained to go. And we went through a special program because of the Cold War, that they could train a whole fleet of men in 8 weeks. It was like super fast and super hard, and we had to move quick. And they said, you guys can do anything. And I believed in myself for the first time. And these drill sergeants instilled that into me, okay? And it was just so amazing, such an amazing transformation. I actually went to I went to Rutgers, and Reagan was in office at the time, and he was looking for people with learning disabilities. So I got to, you know, a teacher, a professor, saw what was going on with me, gets me over to the medical school. I meet the top 10 neurologists in the country on learning problems. He gives me this 8-hour exam. I go through that. He gives me this whole list of things to do. I have to go through it all. You know, cognitive learning, learning about strategies and things like that. And I just rebuilt myself. And I have a 4-year college degree from Arapahoe College and a minor in drug and alcohol counseling. And plus I have 230 credits from Rutgers in